Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rapid Chess here with the video of the day. So Magnus Carlsen won today Alireza Firouzja with white pieces, and this is their fifth classical game, and I think Carlsen leads 4-0 right now. And Alireza previously managed to draw, but this time again he lost. So I won't show you the very boring opening. So you can see from this position it was Ruy Lopez and Magnus was playing white. He has nothing basically in this position, but as we will see, for Magnus it's enough to have one weakness, and he can win a game against a very strong opponent. So Magnus plays white, he exchanged the rooks, as there are open files. So already, as he exchanged, black is threatening to play rook d2, and you don't want to allow this. So they exchanged, and so this is the initial position basically. Alireza has this a6 pawn, which you cannot actually call a weakness, it's just a light square. And he has no other weaknesses at all. Kings are both close to center. So king f8, f4, taking space. And at this point, if we move the king first to e2, then this pawn is hanging, and also with f4 we can bring king faster to center. King e7, king f8, king e6, and b4. So I like this move by Carlsen. It's a bold move, and he shows that he's actually will try to win. He takes away this square, and if king moves, then it's always check from b3, and with this bishop, I think white is very safe concerning that this c4 square is only square where black can infiltrate. And notice that these pawns are on dark squares. So if you plan for when you want to have these pawns on dark squares, I think, because opponent cannot attack them and they take a lot of space from black. Bishop d5, g4, h6, and g5. I mean, I wouldn't play this move, but it looks for me, I wouldn't be surprised if black wins here somehow. You see that actually white is, this king is behind. Yeah, every player would play king e3 or king g3, for instance. Yeah, just you want to keep your pieces together, but Magnus just sees everything. And notice he has a lot of time. He has more than half an hour advantage, and they play without increment so far. Takes, and c5. So this is, I don't know, it's not actually a mistake by the engine, but if we fast forward to the ending, this I think Alireza would really regret that he moved this pawn, yeah, because it's on the dark squares. And notice, like, all these pawns are on dark squares that take a lot of squares from black, and this pawn is also on dark square. You cannot attack it, but it protects very important this b6, and the king naturally cannot just move there because of this pawn. So Alireza naturally wants to exchange more pawns and somehow maybe just normally it brings you closer to a draw when you exchange pawns, but I think it's not the case. King e3, takes, and king to e5. So again, in all the textbooks, black should be better because he has this nice bishop on d5, and his king is in the center. I would play for a draw for with white because this pawn looks very far away from defense, and I don't know, this pawn looks very protected, but it's Magnus thinks totally differently. He plays h4. So clearly he wants to play h5 and h6, create a passed pawn, and then break through with the king. Again, you also already can see that you're missing this c7 pawn. G6. So what happens here if black plays, for instance, king f5? You can see that white is winning immediately. That after, for instance, king d5, bishop g2, just king c5, and after white is much closer to queening, and this bishop cannot, can give away for one pawn, but this pawn is also very close to queening. So it appears that even though black has a counterplay against these pawns, but Magnus calculated that his play against this a6 pawn is vulnerable. And I will show you just one more thing. If we try to protect this bishop, so this is the mechanism that black cannot just defend this a6. They play something like this, and king takes this pawn, and white is winning. So this bishop is not the best defense in this position. All right, let's go back. h4, g6. Again, reasonable decision. You can see that Alireza spent half of his time thinking about this move. Engine is saying that this is the only move which saves black right now. So g6, bishop g4. Again, now Magnus is threatening play bishop to c8, attacking the a6 pawn. Bishop e6. Black, Alireza calculated that this is a draw if we take, and take with the pawn is winning actually for black, because black king is in the center, and if you play h5, just black takes, and this pawn is not moving anywhere. So this is not possible. You need to play like something like this, and this could be some kind of perpetual. So so this is what happened. Bishop g4, bishop a6, and very nice move h5. Just leaving this bishop attacked. If you take, then it's h6, and notice that black king cannot stop this pawn from queening. Yeah, very nice move by Magnus, maybe overseen by Alireza. So he took, and king f5. Again, all of you guys would try to draw here with white, but Magnus is just too good. He sacrifices this pawn and finds a way to attack this a6 square. He takes, plays bishop f3 first, because if king takes, then he will win a tempo over this bishop. And bishop c8 is forced because bishop b7 is a threat. And now Magnus breaks through with the king. He just leaves this pawn behind, takes, and king e5. I actually don't understand this move. I would of course play king to c5, just starting immediately harass, but Magnus sets some traps, yeah, and it appears that when his opponent is in time trouble, he doesn't want to force things. He just wants to play on, make like strange looking moves, which Alireza is not prepared and he's tired of defending. F5 is the engine move. It appears that if you play king to g6, then it loses because king just moves back. You want to move your king up, which will help this pawn to attack, but now he like lost to tempi when he moves the king back, and now Magnus wins important tempo and wins the game. So as in many instances this plan worked. F5, king to d6, now starting the offense, and f4. According to some engines, this engine shows that f4 is still a draw, but other engines show that king f4 is the only move. And the variations later, they're just ridiculously difficult, and somehow black survives, but it looks again very complicated because this pawn is so far away and you need to bring your king to defend, and this pawn is very, very dangerous. So I don't know. Of course, Alireza couldn't calculate. F4 and king back. Again, classical Magnus. He puts his opponent in a very, very difficult zugzwang. You see that this bishop cannot move, and king is protecting the f4, and he just wants to take the pawn and be again quicker to attack the king side. King g6, the most natural. Engines says that bishop h3 saves the game, but again, it's you just give up all this material, but somehow black just moves like this, survives. Yeah, but it's like inhuman totally. So this is what happened. You cannot actually call it a big blunder because bishop h3 is not possible to play, and Alireza calculated that probably after takes king f6, that's what happened. It looks again, maybe it's a draw, yeah, because this is a position, bishop defends, and king goes slowly to this to the queen side and defends everything, but this is not the case because the only winning move which Magnus saw is this bishop d5. Forces again blackens in zugzwang. Yeah, if you play king to e7 here, and let's say king d7, then after this exchange black is lost. Yeah, he just can't hold this position. King d7, here, and takes all the pawns. So and again, you cannot move the bishop because of the bishop to b7, and so this is what happened. Bishop d5 and bishop d7. Engine said this is a mistake, but it's the most obvious. And in this position, Alireza resigned because he cannot catch this bishop here, because if he plays some king c7, then it's king to c5 and takes another pawn and wins. Very nice win. Congratulations to Magnus, and hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you, and see you next time.